Before we get started, I am issuing a one-time full spoiler warning. I will be talking about the entirety of the Black Clover movie from beginning to end, so if you have not watched it, please click off this video and support the official release via Netflix. Otherwise, thank you for watching and enjoy. Black Clover, how you managed to surpass limits time and time again. It's no secret that many others and I were patiently waiting for the Black Clover movie. After it being delayed from its initial March release, Netflix finally brought a nice 2-hour movie that went above and beyond. Before we get too deep into this, as much as I typically avoid numerical ratings, just this once I'll come out of retirement. My score for the Black Clover movie is easily a strong 9 out of 10. This movie manages to take the charming elements of the main series and combine it with not only a presentation that reflects the amount of time given to the staff, but also while eliminating Black Clover's biggest issue being its streak of antagonists. Lucius aside, Black Clover's weakest aspect in my opinion has always been its villains. The devils especially have fallen flat sometimes, but Conrad, being a previous Wizard King, managed to deliver on all fronts. He was so good in fact that it almost makes me wish that he could have been in the main series. I want to first talk about how much this situation with Conrad being the antagonist of the movie made quite a bit of sense. Connecting his return to Julius reverting to a child during the Elf arc, which also resulted in the loss of majority of his powers, which weakened the seal that Conrad was in, was a perfect way to bring him in the movie. A lot of the times, villains in these shonen movies are created to simply exist and disappear after the movie, but Conrad not only had some logic to his introduction, but felt a lot closer to Black Clover's themes while also adding a great parallel to Asta as well. Himself and the other previous Wizard Kings, all victims of the cruel noble system, which makes their anger quite understandable. When you see how they were treated back in their days, you can hardly blame them for wanting to change the country, but their methods naturally are flawed and full of more force than natural change. Each of their magic types quite proficient given their titles, and key magic by far offering a large showcase of utility. Also, this movie did a great job showing just how not overpowered anti-magic is just because of negation, so I hope that crowd sits this one out. As far as the sequence of events goes, first off, the time placement of this movie was as perfect as it could have been. Making this movie pre-Spade War and during the Heart Kingdom period was the most ideal, as I felt any time between part 1 and part 2 of Spade would have been really pushing it given the serious tone of the narrative during that time. It was also cool to see the movie start off with a younger set of the captains and even a nod towards Lucius within Julius as well. Plenty of cool nods towards the main story and nothing egregious. Now, kicking off the movie's momentum, round 1 against the former Wizard Kings was definitely an expected sweep. Huge props to all the VAs, especially Jester's, because he by far has the most unique voice in Black Clover yet. Barrier magic, chest magic, and ice wedge magic all being great choices and impressive, especially Jester's, given that when you think of barriers you tend to think of defense, but this definitely had its spin. Conrad's key magic being not only able to release and capture magic, but also steal made him extremely menacing. I was quite surprised to see Noelle get her magic taken, and it really amped up the stakes, especially when Asta was beaten down so bad to the point of retreat. Again, the anti-magic is overpowered crowd really lost this time around, because using physical objects and a range of magic attacks can certainly get the job done in the right hands. I also appreciated just how much Conrad and Asta mirrored each other while also highlighting the significant difference between them as well. Becoming a Wizard King through strength versus a Wizard King through merit and acknowledgement for the sake of changing the country is the basis of what sets Asta apart from any other previous Wizard Kings, but their treatment by royalty makes you feel for them. The movie made sure to include that even now Asta was banished because of the devil connection, but his refusal to give into Conrad's proposal even during this time is what makes Asta lovable. Unfortunately, that didn't stop the beatdown coming his way, which led to his retreat. Now, this may surprise you, but my favorite part of the movie was actually Asta's rally. One of the most important factors outside of strength is charisma and leadership, especially when looking at the position of king. We always see Asta inspire his peers time and time again, but this level of inspiration hit different. There were a bunch of magic knights from other squads, characters we probably have never seen before, and Asta managed to rally them and their strength heading into the second half of the movie. I cannot stress enough how crucial a scene like this is, especially as we come close to the end of the series. How a peasant might gain the support of not only royalty but the people as well in the future is something Tabata will need to keep in mind outside of just strength. Of course, it doesn't hurt to have more of it, and thankfully the rest of the captains, including Morelliona, managed to arrive on the scene to help cultivate a plan. I don't know if this clicked in anybody else's mind, but it reminded me of the cast walking towards her back in the Elf arc opening, showing just how much influence she has with her presence. From here, the movie pretty much makes its way to its 4 main stages. The Black Bulls versus Edward, Princia versus Morelliona, Yuno and the Rescue Captains versus Jester and Asta and Conrad's one-on-one. Each of these stages being some of the hardest fought battles in recent shonen. You thought the heroes had it rough coming off of My Hero Academia's PLW arc, but the Magic Knights were literally fighting as if it was the end of the world. The entire time, you could never get the sense that the fight was going to end until it ended, and it kept me on my toes till the very end. Presentation of everything, of course, being absolutely incredible. I especially like the trust Yuno and Asta displayed in each other before they took their own battles. God, have they come a heck of a long way. The entire Black Clover team absolutely outdid themselves with literally almost everything, and it goes to prove that with a proper schedule, things can look as good as this all the time. Animation benefits the most when there is time given to produce great results, and coming off something like Spider-Verse especially, Black Clover's movie proves that this idea is true with the best look it has ever had. Now, two of the fights took advantage of the strongest aspect of Black Clover's fights, and that's teamwork. Just being able to see the Black Bulls come together to take down an enemy with a weakened Noelle at first was something I didn't know I needed. Yuno dropping the stylish act and getting absolutely brute force this time around with the three captains as support was also a heck of an unexpected team up. The crazy part is, they technically didn't even beat Jester out fully, as it really came down to the clock running out. Of course, I'm sure what a lot of people are talking about is the straight up boxing match between the ladies. Anybody who knows me knows I love me some good old fashioned hand-to-hand combat, and when the fist started getting thrown, I knew this movie had won me over. The animation was absolutely great, from all the smears, impact frames, and weight behind each heavy blow thrown. Again, huge props to the Black Clover team for managing to present each of these fights without holding back. It's no wonder this movie may have needed some extra time to cook, because things genuinely did not stop moving until the movie was over once the ball got rolling. I'm also quite fond of Edward versus the Black Bulls, as you can never really go wrong with a clash of the old generation and the new. The exchange between Edward and Noelle was great to signify how royalty is slowly but surely changing, and Noelle extending her hand was the perfect way to showcase that Asta's presence is making a big difference for the long term of the kingdom. Now, as for the grand finale of the movie, look man, let me just come off the YouTuber mode and be real for a second, but this whole final fight was hype. Call it peak, fire, raw, Kino, GOAT, or whatever you want, but Asta versus Conrad is definitely a nutty final act. Between Conrad having multiple pieces of magic absorbed in his body, and Li Bei giving a piece of that devil arm to Asta that comes within Spade, which again was a nice nod given Li Bei's dialogue, this fight delivered. From the swordplay to the animation and big hit moves, and of course the exchange of dialogue between the two continuing to highlight the difference between them, regardless of them holding the iconic phrase of not giving up as their magic close to their ideals, there was no better way for this fight to go down than how it did. I heavily advise going back and rewatching some of these scenes with slow down playback speed, because there is some really cool stuff to observe between the movement. Now, as far as the original movie Power Up, this by far was the coolest and again safest bet there could have been. A lot of people speculated that the movie might have gone into the Master Devil Union mode, but it stayed far from it. Instead, a one-time opportunity to give Asta magic imbued within the Imperial Sword granted by his allies came to pass. We also got our Notch crumbs, and Asta got himself a magic wing. The final blow of the movie, accompanied by OP1 Towerka Mirai and pencil sketch, took you all the way back to the Elf arc, and it can't get any better than that. Regardless of the great movie OSTs, there is no doubt that Black Clover OP1 is significant to Black Clover, just like Yusei Run is from My Hero Academia. It is used to signify that the moment has arrived, and you know it's time to get excited. I caught myself blown away as Asta literally slashed the soul out of Conrad's body, which sounds funny, but man was it cool. You really do feel for Conrad, as the man was willing to destroy his own body to meet his goal, but even so, still had that shred of humanity in him with his attachment to his wife hanging on to him to the very end. There is still plenty of work to be done to ensure people won't have to suffer like the previous Wizard Kings, but the actions of all the Magic Knights in this movie prove that there is more progress being made in this current era than ever before, and that it's up to people like Asta to solidify that change. To wrap up my thoughts, this movie is great. The film shows what the passionate Black Clover team is able to accomplish with ample prep time, and I hope they are proud of what they accomplished, because this movie stands triumphant. I genuinely hope that people can support this movie as legally as they can, because I have no doubt the reception of this movie will play a huge part in determining Black Clover's future anime, and we can only cross our fingers for another season and a better schedule. To send this video off, I thought I'd include some comments coming from Tabata from the movie's extras. When asked what Black Clover means to him, Tabata's reply is that it is his dream, and that everyone who participates in reading is a part of his dream. As for any words to people who have watched the movie, Tabata replies, "Of course, thank you for watching, I mean it, and while you're at it, please give a heart of a round of applause to everyone who made this film possible except for me." As always, I hope the team has earned the better schedule they so rightfully deserve, and one day the anime will return to us once more. That's pretty much it for me though. As always, thank you for watching, and make sure to leave all your thoughts about the Black Clover movie in the comment section down below. Stay cool out there, and I will catch you guys in the next video.